Today's video is part of my series on basic energy hygiene, kind of self-care for everyone, not just people who work in alternative health. And today's video is about protection, protecting your energy. Well, what does that mean? What I mean is that my energy should stay with me, your energy should stay with you, and that is the healthiest way for us to carry on our daily activities in life. What we want to avoid is energy leaking out, or other people's energy intruding in, or draining us in some way. It's what is healthier for us. And also, when you have all your energy with you and it's protected and safe, you can be, well, you have more integrity. I'm talking about energetically, and you can also feel more like yourself and more in your own authority, which is really, it should be the default state. However, our physical body, we can see where it begins and ends, but our subtle bodies, our subtle body, like our meridians, chakras, auras, and that kind of thing, they extend beyond our physical body. And so it's easy for those fields to overlap with the fields of other people, and in that way energy can transfer. And it sounds sometimes a little bit weird basically, but everyone can sometimes feel a weird vibe in a place, and it might not be anything to do with the physical location. It could be energy that was left there in some way. But I'm not trying to scare anyone. I really just want people to understand that sometimes what affects us is stuff that we can't really see or sense with our regular 5 sense organs. And it's just a matter of taking care of ourselves in a very simple way to keep ourselves strong and healthy. These kinds of practices are things that I do tell my clients, and I give them this information so that they can stay feeling good for longer between sessions. And I just think it's the kind of information everyone needs to know, not just people who work, as energy workers or intuitives or things like that. So if you think about, going into public transport or a crowded place or things like that, you can imagine it's very easy for people's energy fields to overlap. So the reason these protection practices become helpful is because we live in society, and we have to interact with other people, and it's just one of those things. It's kind of like housekeeping. You have to do it sometimes. But with protection, it's a nice idea to do it beforehand. If you make a simple, quick practice of it, or if you have some easy tools to use, then you can just feel like you're less vulnerable, for most of the time. In my previous videos, I talked about grounding. So grounding is something that really needs to come first, but then protection you can do before a bunch of things, like before work, before you start your day, before you commute, before you travel somewhere by plane. But you can also do it afterwards as sort of to top up your protection. But what's important is that you find a way to integrate it easily into your life. It shouldn't be an onerous thing. And once you make it a regular practice, it can just fortify you a bit or even a lot. So there are some simple things that people, often use, and you probably are already aware of some of these, like visualizations, affirmations. Some people use aura spray products. I'm not paid to say this, but I use Australian bushflower essences, space clearing essence, skin and space mist. So you can spray it on your body, or above your body, below your feet, because your energy fields extend beyond your physical body. You can spray it in rooms, or on your on your handbag, or something like that, physical possessions as well. I find it very helpful, and it's, if you're in a hurry, these kinds of things can work very quickly. But yeah, you have to try a few maybe and see what works for you. But in terms of like being able to do something where you don't have to buy anything, really it's going to be visualizations and affirmations. And then some things that are widely available would be things like salt, that's sodium chloride, or Epsom salts is a magnesium salt. And those are actually crystals, and there are quite a lot of people who are into using crystals for protection. That's not my area of expertise, and I'm like really simple, so I use my bag of Epsom salts. I keep it on my lap. Well, I keep this one on my desk. Some people keep them under their bed. I have another one that I put on my lap sometimes when I'm doing energy work, and it helps me work safely for longer. So it's not like you'll never be affected by other people's energy, and it's not like you need to be scared of that. It's just you need to know how to keep yourself clean and safe. I'll cover clearing energy in the next video. That one is a bit more complicated, but you know, just understand that these are all part of the same kind of energy, basic energy hygiene practices. And sometimes what you don't do is as important or more important than what you do. So I said do. So avoid, you know, crowds if you know that you are sensitive to crowds. If you're very overtired, then there may be certain other things that you want to avoid, like noisy places, or you know, it really depends on you, but just avoid the people, places, situations, and things that maybe you feel vulnerable to, especially if you're hungry, tired, lonely, sad, emotional, angry, you know, any kinds of things like that. It's just means, or if you've been drinking alcohol and things like that, you just become more vulnerable to being affected by the energy of others, or your energy might affect others more as well. It does go both ways. Okay, so I think that kind of covers the basics of it. I would like to run through a visualization, which I'll do in a separate video so that you can just listen to the visualization and visualize your way to protection. But I just want people to understand that this doesn't have to be difficult or expensive. It can be very simple and very quick. I have a handout on these basic energy protection, energy hygiene, self-care rituals. It's really actually pretty straightforward and simple, but it's nice to have it in a very handy format like a handout. So if you'd like a copy of that, you can take a look in the description below. There'll be a link where you can request the PDF. And of course, you can find me here. If you try any of these things, or if you have a different protection practice that works for you, please pop your comment below. I would love to hear more about what you do, because there is really such a diversity of ways to do this. I just try to keep it simple. You can find me on my website, but you know what? If you just read the description below, there's quite a lot there. If you want to connect with me in other ways, the information is there as well. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. That's the visualization exercise. So give that a try. Bye.